As a physician who strived and overcame many barriers for her career goals, I commend my fellow physicians and nurses in Iran who have risked their careers and their lives assisting the wounded. As someone who was born, raised, and lives in a democratic society, I support my fellow Iranians who struggle for the very freedoms and opportunities that I have. Finally, as a mother, I am wholeheartedly with those mothers who have lost their loved ones and those mothers whose young, school-aged children, 6 and 7 years old, have been killed by this brutal regime. I promise to be their voice. I salute all of those who continue to fight against the tyrannical regime. I am proud to support a movement led by a woman, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, who exemplifies true leadership and sacrifice for the sake of Iranian people's hope for freedom. Thank you.
It is an honor for me to be standing here and joining my colleagues at this stage. Today, we gather here in the heart of the international community at the United Nations to raise our voices in solidarity with the brave people of Iran and particularly for women. The women's issue in Iran goes way beyond the right to wear a hijab or not to wear a hijab. It is about the right to choose their own destiny, from what to study, where to work, who to marry, and most importantly, how to navigate society. Indeed, it is about women's leadership role in the society. But today, we do more than just condemning these abuses. We present an alternative, a beacon of hope for a better future. The NCRI, under the leadership of President-elect Maryam Rajavi, offers a 10-point plan for a free and democratic Iran that ensures equality for women and minorities. The NCRI's commitments go beyond words. For 4 decades, the coalition has been led by a woman, and more than 50% of its members are women from diverse backgrounds and religious beliefs, showing an unwavering commitment to advancing gender equity and proving that they are not just advocates, but also trailblazers. The women's rights issue in Iran is a cause championed by Muslim and non-Muslim women alike and unites diverse communities, from the women of Kurdistan to the women of Baluchistan, Khuzestan, and other parts of the country, as well as different generations. Together, we will be successful in this revolution. We can and we must. Now I would like to say a few words in Farsi. من امروز اینجا هستم به عنوان یک محقق و فعال حقوق بشر. به عنوان دانش آموزی که دوران سیاه اختناق سالهای 60 را دیده است و طعم تلخ شنیدن خبر اعدام دختران و پسران دانش آموز و دانشجوی همنسلیش را بارها و بارها تجربه کرده است. به عنوان محققی که هر بار در تبعید مقاله علمی چاپ کرده و یا در کنفرانسی علمی سخنرانی کرده، نتوانسته فراموش کند که هزاران هزار جوان پرشور و با استعداد میهنش به دست ماشین کشتار این رژیم در این 4 دهه قتل عام شدند و یا در سیاه شالهایش به زنجیر کشیده شدند. افتخار میکنم افتخار میکنم در کنار مقاومتی پیشتاز هستم که از زمان خود جلوتر بود و بیش از 40 سال است که فریاد میزند سرنگونی رژیم ملاها شرط لازم برای برقراری آزادی و دموکراسی در ایران است. مقاومتی سالها کارزار بین المللی دادخواهی و رساندن فریاد مظلومیت مردمش را پایه‌گذاری کرده و امروز این کمپین در کارنامه درخشانش حمایت بیش از 75 برنده جایزه نوبل و بیش از 1000 زن لیدر از اقصا نقاط جهان را از مبارزات مردم ایران تقدیم میهنش می‌کند. مقاومتی که از ایمان به تساوی حقوق انسان‌ها بسی فراتر رفته و پیشتاز در ساختن فرهنگی نوین برای ارتقاء ارزش‌های انسانی شده است. مقاومتی که توانسته در فضای کثیف سیاست مماشات و ماشین دروغ‌سازی رژیم وجدان‌های بیدار در جامعه بین‌المللی را پیدا کند و محکوم کردن نقض حقوق بشر در ایران و پیوستن به کارزار جهانی تا دادخواهی را مسئله و دغدغه هزاران هزار سیاستمدار و دانشمند بکند. با دیدن چنین عزم، اراده و بینش عمیق انسانی در رهبری و اعضای این مقاومت شکی ندارم که آلترناتیو سازمان یافتش یعنی شورای ملی مقاومت همگام و همراه با قیام آفرینان 1401 که با رشادت‌هایشان سقف جدیدی از مبارزه را آفریدند و به زیباترین شکل پویایی مبارزات از سال 60 تا امروز را به تصویر کشیدند. ساختن ایرانی آزاد و آباد در آینده‌ای نه چندان دور از آرزو به عمل تحقق پیدا خواهد کرد. از آن ماست پیروزی، از آن ماست فردا.
Wonderful ladies for always being on the right side. We are now going to hear from a great friend of the Iranian resistance, the people and the resistance for freedom who has stood on the right side for 3 decades now. Senator Robert Sully served 20 years as congressman and as senator, representing the state of New Jersey. During his tenure, Senator Sully served in key congressional committees of foreign affairs in the House and foreign relations in the Senate, as well as Select Committee on Intelligence. He joined the leadership in the Senate in the first term as a Democratic senator. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm welcome to Senator Robert Sully.
Our respect to you today and our gratitude for your unflinching leadership in bringing down this regime. Mrs. Rajvi, thank you. I know, as I look at all of you today, gathered here, I see your faces and I hear your voices. But I know behind every one of you is someone you love who was martyred. Someone you care about who was jailed. Someone important to you who was tortured. I see your faces in the hundreds, but I know behind you there are thousands. You honor their memories. You honor their lives. I am honored to be with you for the kind of people that you are. Thank you for being here. On behalf of all of them, thank you for being here.
Regime change in Iran, why the people of Iran? Regime change in Iran, why the people of Iran?
2 hours. Raisi will stand before the diplomats of the world in the building behind me. It's important that diplomats from Africa and Asia and Europe and Latin America know who's speaking with them today. The voice you will hear from the President of Iran is the same voice that ordered the deaths of thousands and thousands of young people in hundreds of towns and villages across Iran in the last year. It was his voice that ordered their murders. It is his voice who brought their deaths. Understand who Raisi is and who it is who speaks with you today. He is a murderer. When Raisi walks to the podium today and shakes the hands of the leaders of the United Nations, understand that the hand that he stretches out has the blood on it of tens of thousands of martyrs from the genocide of 1988. It was his hand that ordered the deaths of the martyrs. That's who shakes your hand today when he rises to speak. He is a murderer. His hands have blood on them. Raisi, understand this. You can enjoy today all the honors and the pomp and the circumstance. You can believe you're a legitimate leader. You can believe in your heart that you belong in the United Nations. But understand this. Your future is the future of Gaddafi. Your future is the future of Idi Amin. Your fate is the fate of Saddam. You have a rendezvous with the ambitions of the Iranian people, and your death is a dishonorable death in the hands and the streets of the people of Iran. That, Raisi, is your future. So today, the diplomats of the United Nations will remind you of this. Raisi may stand there, but the people of Iran stand here. What the people of Iran want is not what he will speak to. What they want is a country that is democratic, to choose their own leaders, where they can exercise religious freedom, where they can speak free, and a non-nuclear Iran at peace with its neighbors and reconciled with the world. Not a pariah state, but a state in the true traditions of the Persian people, of a great culture, a great land, of prosperity, and of peace, and of freedom. Not Raisi's Iran, our Iran. The Iran of Madam Rajavi, the 10-point plan, a democratic and a free Iran. You can listen to him, but the voice of Iran is here with us. We are the future. So to all of you,
Democracy, freedom, with Madam Rajavi. Democracy, freedom, with Madam Rajavi.
to all of you, thank you for remembering the loved ones you left behind. Thank you for not giving up on Iran. The future will be determined by those young people taking to the streets. can beat them down, you can jail them, you can even kill them. But the future is inevitable. This will triumph. He will fail. He will be accountable. And the future will belong to those who stand with us. To all of you, thank you for never giving up. Thank you for never giving in. We will be here with you till the end. An end we can feel. It is in our hands. Thank you all. God bless you.
To introduce a powerful and unwavering voice for a free and democratic Iran. Though she cannot be with us in person today, her message carries the hope and determination of millions. Please turn your attention to a special audio message from Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. She's the President-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, whose leadership and 10-point plan have inspired our collective pursuit for a better future for Iran.
ایران مریم مریم ایران 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 ایران مریم مریم ایران
شخصیت‌ها و دوستان محترم مقاومت ایران در ایالات متحده، همراه و همصدا با شما و مردم به پا خواسته در سراسر ایران گرمترین درودها رو به قیام آفرینان نثار می‌کنیم. درود به همه زنان و مردانی که به مناسبت سالگرد قیام 1401 به اعتراض و اعتصاب دست زدند. درود می‌فرستیم به جوانان شجاعی که بهای دستگیری و زندان را پرداختند، به نوجوانان و جوانان معترضی که با شریک مستقیم جنایتکاران تحت فرمان خامنه‌ای به شهادت رسیدند، به زندانیان مجاهدی که تحت وحشیانه‌ترین فشارها و آزارها قرار گرفتند و به دلیران کانون‌های شورشی که مشعل قیام برای سرنگونی را فروزان و درخشان کردند. تظاهرات روز شما در نیویورک گدازی از همان آتش فشان خاموش نشدنی است که در دل جامعه ایران بیتابی می‌کند. در تاریخچه سازمان ملل روزهای پر افتخاری هست، مثل روز تصویب اعلامیه جهانی حقوق بشر، و متاسفانه روزهای پرننگ و آری هم هست که امروز با حضور رئیسی این دژخیم خوناشام یکی از زشت‌ترین و سیاه‌ترین آنهاست. این اقدام در تعارض آشکار با فلسفه وجودی ملل متحد و توهین به مردم ایران است. این جنایتکاری که به رغم مخالفت قانونگذاران آمریکا از هر دو حزب به ملل متحد آمده، مردم ما را نمایندگی نمی کند. خون هزاران زندانی مجاهد و مبارز در قتل عام سال 67 بر دستهای اوست و به خاطر جنایت علیه بشریت باید در برابر عدالت قرار بگیرد. اما این نمایش‌های شرم‌آور، یعنی پذیرفتن جلاد در مقر ملل متحد، هر قدر توسط آخوندها و پاسداران تبلیغ شود، هرگز نمیتواند واقعیت بزرگ جاری در ایران را بپوشاند. آن واقعیت بزرگ این است که با وجود سرکوب بیوقفه، آمادگی اجتماعی برای فوران قیام بیشتر شده است. رژیم در بنبسته است. جنبش اعتراضی مردم ایران با کانون شورشی راه خود را پیدا کرده است و قیام بعدی در راه است. نه سرکوب وحشیانه و نه سیاست مماشات و زدوبند با قدرت‌های خارجی نمی‌تواند مانع سرنگونی شود. همچنان که مسعود گفت بعد از قیام 1401 چرخ زمان و انقلاب دموکراتیک نوین ایران هرگز به عقب بر نمی‌گردد. دوستان و هموطنان عزیز، از فردای قیام خامنه‌ای و سپاه پاسداران به هر جنایتی برای سرکوب مردم دست زدند. از 2 برابر کردن شمار اعدام‌ها، آزار خانواده‌های شهیدان تا دستگیری و شکنجه و اعدام جوانان بلوچ و انواع تهدیدها برای زمینگیر کردن گروه‌های کرد ایرانی در کردستان عراق یا اخراج استادان دانشگاه‌ها. با این همه هیچ روزی از خشم و خروش مردم به جان آمده در امان نبوده است. اعتراضهای کارگران، بازنشستگان، پرستاران و تا حاجر بی‌وقفه جوانان به جان آمده به مأموران سرکوبگر رژیم را در محاصره قرار داده است. فقط در سالگرد بنیانگذاری مجاهدین کانون‌های شورشی به 59 رشته عملیات ضد اختناق دست زدند و در سالگرد قیام 1401 در اوج اختناق وحشیانه در انجام 414 رشته پراتیک انقلابی و اختناق شکن در تهران و 40 شهر دیگر پیروز شدند. در چنین وضعیتی امدادهای غیبی هیچ گرهی از کار این رژیم، آن هم این رژیم به آخر خط رسیده، باز نمی کند. زدوبندهای ننگاور با جلادان مردم ایران از جمله 6 میلیارد دلار که در روزهای اخیر به خامنه‌ای و سپاه پاسداران داده اند، برگرداندن عده‌ای از مأموران رژیم به ایران که به جرم تبهکاری و تروریسم یا نقض تحریم‌ها در آمریکا زندانی بوده اند، بخشیدن غنیسازی 60% اورانیوم به آخوندهای بمبساز و همچنین اینکه در اجلاس شورای حکام آژانس انرژی اتمی از صدور قطعنامه درباره تخلفات فاحش رژیم چشم می‌پوشند. این کمک رسانی آشکار به قاتلان مردم ایران و پدرخوانده تروریسم در جهان امروز است. به آنها میگوییم به قطعنامه 100 در مجلس نمایندگان آمریکا که به وسیله 240 نماینده حمایت شده گوش کنید. به اکثریت نمایندگان مجالس فرانسه، ایتالیا و انگلستان، همچنین به 124 رئیس جمهور و نخست وزیر سابق و به 3600 قانونگذار در بیش از 40 کشور که صدها میلیون آمریکایی و اروپایی را نمایندگی می کنند گوش کنید. آنها با تاکید بر برنامه 10 ماده مقاومت ایران اعلام کردند که در کنار مردم ایران می ایستند و حق مردم ایران برای مبارزه در راستای برقراری یک جمهوری دموکراتیک بر اساس جدایی دین و دولت و یک ایران غیر اتمی را به رسمیت می‌شناسند. باید تاکید کنم که مردم و مقاومت ایران برای سرنگونی رژیم و برقراری آزادی و دموکراسی از هیچ دولت و قدرتی کمک نمی‌خواهند. آنچه می‌خواهند این است که دولت‌ها در غرب و شرق جهان امداد رسانی به این رژیم را متوقف کنند و خامنه‌ای و رئیسی را به جرم نسل‌کشی و جنایت علیه بشریت در یک دادگاه بین‌المللی محاکمه کنند. این رژیم را به عنوان تهدید صلح و امنیت جهان تحت فصل 7 منشور ملل متحد قرار دهند و مبارزه مردم ایران برای سرنگونی رژیم و حقانیت نبرد جوانان شورشگر با سپاه پاسداران را به رسمیت بشناسند. مردم ما راه پیروزی و آزادی را یافتند. این راه روشن مرزبندی قاطع با شاه و شیخ و برافراشتن پرچم انقلاب دموکراتیک و جمهوری دموکراتیک بر قله قیام هاست. این راه روشن قیام سازمان یافته است. این راه روشن کانون شورشی و ارتش بزرگ آزادی مردم ایران است. انقلاب دموکراتیک مردم ایران پیروز می شود. درود بر همه شما.
Our next speaker, Senator Joe Lieberman, was the Democratic Vice Presidential nominee in 2000 and served 24 years in the United States Senate, retiring in January 2013. Prior to being elected to the Senate, Senator Lieberman served as Attorney General of the state of Connecticut for 6 years. He served 10 years in the Connecticut State Senate. Please welcome Senator.
Okay, now. Hey, good morning, everybody. I think you're as excited and happy to be here as I am, right? It's a beautiful day in New York. The sun is shining on us, and I want to tell you, the sun is shining on the movement for a free Iran. And I'll tell you something else. The sun is setting on Raisi and the regime in Tehran. It has been, of course, a year since the last time we gathered alongside the UN General Assembly. And there, too, we protested as we must. The appearance here of Raisi, who Bob Torricelli said so eloquently, is a murderer. He has the blood of thousands of people on his hands, and yet he gets the right to speak from the podium of the United Nations. I know you agree with me. He ought to be in the defendant's docket in the International Court of Criminal Justice in The Hague because of the crimes against humanity that he has carried out. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, because I don't want to talk a lot about Raisi today. I want to talk about where the sun is shining on the Free Iran movement.
But I want to say to our friends in the United Nations, you've got some repentance to do for the fact that Raisi has given a podium here, and I want to give you a few ideas. It's time to snap back and reinstate the sanctions that were imposed by the United Nations Security Council based on facts of what Iran has done. Second, it's time to expel Iran from every international agency and organization because this regime is a criminal state and it doesn't deserve to be in international organizations. And finally, as I arrived today, I heard one of the women here quoting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is a document adopted by the United Nations. And I want to read you one of the clauses in it. It says that people and nations have recourse to rebellion against tyranny and oppression. They say it's a last recourse. But pursuant to a United Nations Universal Declaration of Rights, we and the people of Iran have the right to rebel. And I remind you, which I've done before, at the outset of America, a committee, pretty high-level committee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, were asked to design the seal of the United States and a motto. And the first motto they chose was, "Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God." So the mullahs in Iran say they are doing the work of God. Would God want them or anyone to torture people, to kill people, to kill children, to arrest people? Of course not. No. And that's why I go back to what I said at the beginning. This movement for a free Iran is stronger today than it's ever been. And it's an amazing thing to say that. It's about a year ago, as you all know, that the morality police of the Iranian regime arrested and ultimately murdered Mahsa Amini. And the rebellion that had been simmering and brewing against the tyrants in Tehran broke open into the most serious threat to the regime, and the regime knew that. And so they acted brutally. 750 people killed at least, 30,000 arrested, 3,600 members of the MEK resistance fighters and disappeared. But what happened in response? The resistance didn't weaken, it got stronger. For every person who was taken by the regime, 2, 3, 4, 5 joined the battle. The forces of freedom will not be stopped. And I know you agree with me, that's why we will not stop until liberation is achieved in Iran. I love it. I love that chant. We should do it every day, many times a day, and do it now so that the people who are fighting the regime in Iran will hear us. They are suffering brutally. The economy is terrible. The mullahs and the IRGC take the wealth of the country for themselves. In the last 5 years, there are 3 times as many people in Iran living in poverty than before. The currency has dropped in value 34 times. This government is not only evil, it is corrupt and incompetent. Well, let me tell you this, my friends. This kind of government regime, evil, which feeds off of its positions in power, will not go willingly from power. They have to be brought down. Remember the famous phrase of Dr. Martin Luther King, the moral arc of the universe bends slowly, but it always bends toward justice and freedom. But then Dr. King, when asked later, said, we here on earth have an obligation to bend the arc ourselves by our action so that we will achieve justice and freedom sooner. And I want to say here that there is no more effective force for bending the arc toward freedom for the Iranian people than the National Council of Resistance in Iran under Ms. Maryam Rajavi and the MEK inside the country. The great addition to the uprising, the rebellion in Iran this year in response to the murder of Mahsa Amini has been the women of Iran. My wife was not surprised by that incident, as you can imagine. But look at this movement, way ahead of its time, led by a brilliant, strong, principled, patriotic woman whose leadership has made every difference for the people of Iran. This is Maryam Rajavi. Proud to stand with her. So inside Iran, the MEK resistance fighters are at the fighting heart of this movement. And that's why the mullahs attacked the MEK so viciously. Last week, as you know, Sunni and Ali Reza released documents that were seized from the government describing meetings held at the highest level in Tehran with one focus: how do we stop the MEK? Allocating hundreds of millions of dollars to that purpose. But I have news for the regime, for Raisi, Khamenei, and all the rest. You will never stop the MEK. You will never stop the MEK or the NCRI because they are seized with a fight for freedom. They are seized with a determination to retake their homeland, their blessed country, from these thieves and tyrants and bring it back to its greatness over history. Now let me say something briefly about the NCRI. Not only has the regime not been able to stop the resistance has grown stronger. But internationally, this has been a turning point year. I think that the countries of the world, the leaders of the world have finally gotten over this fantasy that they had that you could deal with the regime in Iran. How can you deal with killers? How can you deal with cheats and liars? How can you deal with extremists? Here again, the NCRI, you might say that the NCRI and the MEK together, if it were a government, are like the Ministry of Defense on the ground in Iran, and the NCRI internationally is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But listen to this. In the last year, 3,600 lawmakers, parliamentarians in 61 parliaments in 40 countries in the world, including, of course, a majority in the U.S. Congress, have endorsed the 10 10-point plan of NCRI and Mrs. Rajavi. Add to that 124 former world leaders, that is heads of state, and 75 winners of the Nobel Prize. I just want to stress this. There was a time when, in a way, the regime was successful in portraying their opposition as extremists or terrorists. But the truth has come out as time has gone by, because we have never given up. The terrorists are running the regime in Tehran. The freedom fighters are fighting in the NCRI, in the MEK, and to me, I say we're going to look back on this last year and say it was a turning point in world support for the people of the freedom of Iran. So, dear friends, I'm always honored to be here, because to me this is a cause that is at the heart of what America's about. And I know this is a crowd of Iranian Americans, proud of your heritage, history, and connection to Iran, but patriotic and loyal Americans. I was thinking as we were waiting, talking to Senator Brownback, that when I come to these meetings, I feel I'm speaking for myself, but I'm also speaking for my dear friend and your dear friend who left us 5 years ago, and I'm talking about Senator John McCain of Arizona. He would be here. If I know McCain, he's up in heaven moving things around to try to make it harder for the regime and easier for the people of Iran. Dear friends, I say this to you. We're stronger than we were a year ago, and hopefully this is the year when this regime falls, because we will not give in. You know, the United States Coast Guard has an expression in Latin that there is their motto, Semper Paratus, always prepared, always ready. But I've learned a different way to express that in Farsi. So I will ask you, are we ready and willing to stand by the freedom fighters in Iran until the regime falls and freedom returns to this great country of Iran? Khazar, 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 Khazar. Thank you very much. God bless you.
I am pleased to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce Senator Sam Brownback, who served as Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom. He served as Governor of Kansas. Prior to that, he represented his home state in the United States Senate and House of Representatives. While a member of the Senate, he worked actively on the issue of human rights around the world, including on religious freedom. And in particular, he was a key sponsor of the Iran Democracy Act and the Iran democratic transition. He has been our friend and the friend of the Iranian people for a long time. Please help me welcome Senator Brownback.
Free Iran! Free Iran! Free
for these people, for the people to be free in Iran. And it's time, it's past time, it is now time for the people of Iran to be free. Free Iran! 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 This is our heart. This is the heart of the people of Iran. The ruling mullahs have had control of Iran for nearly 45 years. It's fair to ask, how have those decades been for the people of Iran? They have been disastrous. The shattered economy, your best and brightest have left, fleeing for freedom and opportunity, secret police, summary executions, no human rights, no right to vote in open elections, no religious freedom to pursue the own course for your own soul, even though the Quran says there's no compulsion in religion. Now, if you were one of the rulers over this past 45 years, it's been very good. You're now rich and have power for now, but not for long. The end is coming. Each of the succeeding protests in recent years have been longer and more widespread than the prior one. The patience of the people is gone. They want regime change, and they want it now. You can hear the chants from inside of Iran. What do you want? Regime change. When do you want it? Now. What do you want? When do you want it? What do you want? When do you want it? Now. Now is the time. It's fair to ask, how has Islam fared under the ruling clerics? This too has been a disaster. There is great discontent amongst the people for the compulsions foisted upon them by the ruling regime. Instead of attracting people in Iran and around the world to Islam, the rulers have driven them away. Forced religion ends up forcing souls away. And there is clearly another way for the great people of Iran. And it's called democracy. It's called human rights. It's called human dignity. It's called freedom. Freedom for the people in Iran. And this alternative is called for and stood for by the MEK. These are tried and proven methods for human flourishing and for growth and for opportunity. This path is available now for the people of Iran. There is an alternative. It's called freedom. Let the people choose their own leaders, their own way, in fair and free and open elections. Now to the people of Iran, I say, what do you have to lose? The last 45 years have proven disastrous. Listen to the call for freedom. Continue to push for freedom inside Iran. And to the world community, I say, let's back the yearning of the people of Iran. No more money to the ruling mullahs. No more money to 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 mullahs. If we've learned nothing else, giving money to terrorists only gets you more terrorism. This Iranian regime is in partnership with authoritarians like Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. They seek a new world order of dictators. They oppose freedom and free societies. They oppose human rights. Now we see things like human rights and religious freedom as a foundation of society. They see it as an existential threat to their control. This is a stark difference. The world has a dark future if this alliance of madness between Iran and Russia and China prevails. But it will not prevail. It will not prevail. The human spirit will not let tyranny prevail. History and the hand of God move inexorably towards freedom. It's towards freedom. It often takes time and much struggle. But the natural state of human beings, of men and women around the world is to be free. It's freedom that we seek. It's freedom for the people of Iran. Free 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 the people of Iran. Let's pray and let's act to free the people of Iran for an end to the tyranny and terrorism. Thank you. Thank you for staying in the fight all these years. We will prevail. God bless you all.
Thank you, Senator Brownback, and thank you for teaching us a new chant. No money for the mullahs. Our next speaker is a long-term diplomat with a deep understanding of how the mullahs regime has operated in the Middle East. He was appointed by President Clinton. He served 4 years as the U.S. ambassador to Morocco. Prior to that, he served as National Security Legislative Assistant to Senator Kennedy, and during the Carter administration, he served as White House liaison for Secretary of State and Deputy Senior Advisor to President Carter Middle East Policy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ambassador Mark Charles Ginsberg.
The man who ordered the murder of thousands of imprisoned Iranians seeking freedom from the oppression of the Ayatollahs. Yet despite the oppression, the march to freedom goes on inside Iran. The revolution continues. Raisi, go home! Raisi, go home! The man who is going to use $6 billion to strengthen Iran's internal Gestapo, to pay off Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, to make a hefty deposit into the account of the Ayatollah Khamenei. This is the man who comes to the United Nations, and what do we say to him? Raisi, go home! Raisi, go home! We must not forget that the tyrant who is at the United Nations today is rebuilding Iran's nuclear weapons, is providing arms and weapons to kill the innocent people of Ukraine, who threatens the destruction of Israel, who supports terrorism by Hezbollah and Hamas, who orders attacks on America's allies, who sends drones to Ukraine to support Putin's war of aggression, who authorizes cyber attacks. Make no doubt about it. Raisi is here to further the work of the Ayatollah and the killers of Iran. And what do we say to him? Raisi, go home! Raisi, go home! Final say about the fate of the Ayatollahs and not him. We will decide the destiny of the Ayatollahs, not him. As the UN General Assembly convenes and Raisi smiles his way around the corridors of the UN, let us not forget, it is nations like that are run by Ayatollah that tear up the UN Charter every day. They destroy the universal freedoms that the UN Charter promises. It is nations like Iran that are besmirching and ruining the United Nations' reputation. It is a regime that would rather murder, imprison, and rape the women of Iran than to give them the freedom that they deserve. What do we say to Raisi? Raisi, go home! Raisi, go home! I have a hope that together with all the people who are demonstrating today, that we will see regime change. The revolution has started. I can see Madame Rajavi in New York. I can see her addressing the United Nations. I can see her leading the regime. Instead of Raisi, there will be Madame Rajavi addressing the United Nations. A leader who excites the women of the world, who embraces democratic values and has the support of a new generation of Iranians. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to make sure the people of Iran know what we want. What do we want? What do we want? Freedom. What do we want? Freedom. And what we want is Raisi. You go home. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
To honor the resilience and unwavering spirit of the Iranian people and their struggle for freedom, we have a special tribute, a heartfelt violin performance dedicated to their enduring courage. Please join me in welcoming Kamal to stage as he delivers a moving musical tribute to the people of Iran.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, we are joined by a truly inspiring delegation, our teenage youth. The voices of our future are here to share their thoughts. Among them, we have a lot of... Okay, we have more than I had listed. So I'll name a few. Among them, we have Yalda, Sefer, Benga, Iranian. And our speakers, Alena and Iman, who represent the spirit and determination of the young generation. It is especially poignant to hear from them, as many teenagers in Iran have paid the price in the uprising. All right, ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming our young delegation.
My mother was a teenager when she was in prison, and today I stand before you on behalf of the Iranian American youth to show our solidarity with the youth in Iran and make it known that we will continue to stand with them until the tyrannical Iranian regime is gone and equality and democracy, freedom, and justice are established in Iran. As we've learned the message of hope and resistance from generations before us. The people of Iran have always shown incredible resilience and determination in their quest for freedom, equality, and democracy for over 4 decades. From the beginning of their struggle for democracy and freedom, students and youth in Iran have played a vital role to keep the flame of revolution and freedom alive. And although they have made great sacrifices, they have never given up. In the face of oppression, prison, torture, and execution, this generation, my generation, in Iran have shown remarkable courage. They fearlessly speak out against the Iranian regime and risk their lives to demand regime change. This message of no to the dictatorship in any shape or form. But let us be clear, the fight for human rights and democracy transcends borders. This is a fight that should involve everyone, everywhere. History has shown that oppressive regimes cannot suppress the will of the people forever. A new revolution was born last year in high schools, universities, and the streets of Iran by this generation, as well as women. The power of their actions, the strength of their resistance units, and the determination of each of these revolutions must bring change to Iran. The Iranian people will establish a democratic government that is for the people and by the people of Iran. To the young generation of Iran, I want to say this. Your courage is inspiring others around the world, and you are not alone in this struggle. Raisi, the current president of Iran's regime, should be taken to the International Criminal Court and charged with these crimes against humanity. In conclusion, prosecute Raisi! No, no, no! 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 In conclusion, the current uprising in Iran is a beacon of hope in a world that often seems dark and divided. It reminds us that the pursuit of justice and freedom is a universal and timeless endeavor. Let us stand together, shoulder to shoulder, and work towards a free Iran. Thank you. Sharif.
با سلام و درود به همه شما که اینجا جمع شدیم که بگیم نه به ستمگر، نه به رئیسی. به نام خدا و به نام خلق قهرمان ایران. با آنگاه که از آن استعداد زنده به گور برپر شده پرسیده شود به کدامین گناه کشته شد. با آنگاه که نامه اعمال گشوده شود پس سوگند یاد نمی کنم به با پشبندگان به فرور بندگان مشونده و شب. آنگاه که همی پایان پذیرد و صبح که آنگاه بدمد. هر شب ستاری از این آسمان میکشند و باز این آسمان غم زده غرق ستاره هاست. مادرها، پدرها، خواهران، برادران، امروز جمع شدیم برای تازه ترین شهدای خلق. سازمان مجاهدین خلق ایران از زمان تأسیسش تا امروز بیش از 120,000 شهید داده است و همچنان برای آوردن آزادی حاضر است تا جانشان را فدای خلق قهرمان ایران بکند. درود بر جوانان شهید مثل مساج اینا امینی، نوید افکاری و نیکا شکرمی که جونشون را فدا کردن در راه آزادی. درود بر سازمان مجاهدین خلق و رهبر مقاومت شیر همیشه بیدار مسعود رجوی، برای جمهور شورای ملی مقاومت ایران مریم رجوی. درود بر شما. درود بر کانون‌های شورشی قهرمان و شهیدان راه آزادی. لطف کنین فریاد بزنین مرگ بر ستمگر چه شا باشه چه رهبر. 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 دوباره فریاد بزنین خلق جانان بداند مسعود رهبر ماست. خلق جهان بداند مسعود رهبر ماست. خلق جهان بداند مسعود رهبر ماست. فریاد بزنید خلق جهان بداند مسعود رهبر ماست. خلق جهان بداند مسعود رهبر ماست. خلق جهان بداند مسعود رهبر ماست. متشکر. our teenage youth. Make some noise! Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to hear from Mr. Iskandar Filavi, three-time Olympian in wrestling for Iran, who is the flag bearer for Iran in the Olympics, and holds 17 gold, silver, and bronze medals from international games. Known as Pahlivan Filavi, he is currently the chairman of the Athletics Committee of the National Council of the Resistance of Iran. Please help me welcome Mr. Filavi.
صدای مردم ایران رو به گوش جهانیان می‌رسونید. درود به تک تکتون. چون در این سالها تمام تبلیغات استعماری و ارتجاعی بر این بود که شما رو کم نشون بدن. ولی ببینید در این 2 روز گذشته در همین جا، در برلین، در سوئد، در همه کشورهای اروپایی و کانادا شماها چه کرد؟ اگر همه شما را جمع کنند باور کنید جمعیت عظیمی خواهد بود که در این خیابان‌ها جا نمی‌گیرید. کسانی هستید که با غیرت خودتون، با همت خودتون دارید از این رهبری آقای مسعود رجوی که واقعاً برای آزادی و استقلال کشورمون داره زحمت میکشه و دارن کار میکنن، دارین کار میکنید. شما این مقاومت روی پای شما، با پول شما و با ارزش‌های تک تک شما پیش رفته. این مقاومت رو شماها حفظ کردین در 43 سال گذشته. یادتون باشه این مقاومت کسانی رو مثل شما پشت سر هم آورده. دیدین جوونا رو اینجا چقدر قشنگ، چقدر زیبا، چقدر خوب صحبت می‌کردن. برای چی؟ برای استقلال و آزادی کشورشون. ما در شورای ملی مقاومت یک رهبری داریم، نام آقای مسعود رجوی که خدا خیرش بده، خدا حفظش کنه. انسانی است بزرگوار، آزادیخواه و متواضع و فروتن. باور کنید در تمام مبارزاتی که در این 42 سال دیدم جز فروتنی، فداکاری در هیچ کدوم از بچه‌های مجاهد و تمام دوستان مجاهد و شورایی ها ندیدم. برای همین هست که با افتخار جلو شما هستن و تعظیم میکنم به شما که راهتون به هدر نخواهد رفت. شماها آقای مسعود رجوی یادتون میاد و میشناسید و چیکار کرد. وقتی که قانون اساسی رو گذاشتن که ولایت فقیه باشه، در 43 سال پیش آقای مسعود رجوی گفت نه به قانون اساسی، چون ما ولایت فقیه نمیخوایم، حکومت یک نفره نمیخوایم، ما نمیخوایم باز یک نفر بیاد مزدور دست استعمار بشه و هر چه استعمار گفت انجام بده. و بعد گفتن ما میخوایم که کشورمون آزاد باشه. ولی خمینی ملعون گفت اگر کسی به قانون اساسی رأی نداده باید بره. کجای دنیا کدوم حزب وقتی پیروز میشه حزب دیگه میگه باید از کشور بریم یا اعدامشون کنن؟ بیش از 120,000 نفر از جوانای ما رو اعدام کردن. الان یک جنایتکاری رو آوردن در این سازمان ملل متحد. سازمان ملل متحد باید یک جایی باشه، یک دادگستری باشه برای حفظ جان و مرزهای کشورهای مختلف. و الا اینجا پارتی که نیست که مردم بیان اینجا پارتی بذارن. باید مردم بیاد در تمام دنیا آزاد باشن در درون مرزشون و اگر کسی به کسی تهدید کرد اینا هستن که اینا به دادگاه بکشن. دوستان ببینید شما در کشورهای مختلف زندگی، هر کشوری که دادگستریش عادله اون کشور آرامترین و پیشرفته‌ترین کشور. دادگستری کشورهای جهان سازمان ملل متحد. سازمان ملل متحد چطور نفهمید وقتی خمینی 120,000 نفر جوان رو کشت به شهادت رسید ساکت شد؟ سازمان ملل متحد چطور ساکت میشه و خجالت نمیکشن جنایت کاری مثل رئیسی رو میاره اینجا؟ واقعا اگر هیتلر یا موسولینی بود اینجا را میدادید؟ اگر میدادید شرم بر شما. چطور میشه میان با دستهای خونی این جنایتکار دست میدید؟ واقعا اون یکی از دوستایی که اینجا شعار میداد الان هل تو رئیسی، هل تو رئیسی. رئیسی جهنم باید بره، نه اینکه بیاد اینجا و در این سازمان ملل متحد شد.
حرف اول، حرف آخر، سرنگونی، سرنگونی. حرف اول، حرف آخر، سرنگونی، سرنگونی. حرف اول، حرف آخر، سرنگونی.
همین رئیسی داره گروگانگیری میکنه و دولت آمریکا بهش میلیاردها پول میده. خودشون گفتن که ما هر وقت بخوایم میان چند هزار نفر رو گروگان میگیریم و چند میلیارد دلار پول میگیریم. ما نمیگیم اینو، خود پاسدارها اعلام کردن. پاسدار سلیمانی بود، سلیمی پاسدار سلامی، نه سلامی. و هر حال یکی از اینها گفت که ما گروگان میگیریم و بعد میایم پول میگیریم اینا رو آزاد. آخه شما چطور میتونید با همچین حکومتی بیاین دست بدین و باش صحبت کنید؟ این الان بهترین جاست که بیارن تحویل دادگاه بین‌المللی بدن، محاکمش کنن، دستش به خون جوانهای مملکت ما واقعا آلوده است. این مقاومت در 43 سال گذشته کوچکترین خلاف در هیچ جای دنیا نکرد. برید گوش کنید، در تمام تظاهرات هیچ وقت ما حرفی بر خلاف قوانین هیچ کشوری نزدیم و عملی انجام ندادیم. ما این مقاومتی که شما میبینید تمام تبلیغات بر علیه این مقاومت است که بخوان حافظ سازی کنن، ولی شما ایستادید و درست دارین کار مملکت رو پیش میبرید که در آینده اعتقاد و یا عدم اعتقاد به مذاهب آزاد باشه. کسی رو به خاطر اعتقاد و یا عدم اعتقادش مورد سؤال قرار ندن. یعنی یک کشور آزاد، یعنی یک کشوری که هیچ کس به کار شخصی دیگری دخالت نکنه و این رو سازمان ملل متحد یا کشورهای دیگه بعد جز لیست‌های جزایی گذاشته. بعد فشار میارن که شما رو داغون کنن. اون لیست گذاری ها برای چی بود؟ برای این بود که ماها رو داغون کنن، ما فرار کنیم. ما اگر فرار میکردیم چرا بیایم اینجا؟ اما در کشورمون میمونیم. ما در داخل ایران پایه های اصلی من قانون های شما متوجه نیستید که اگر اونجا حتی یک نفر بشناسن اعدام، ولی قانون های شورشی وجود دارند و اینها یک روز قیام میکنن و تمام این دار و دسته آخوندها رو به هم خواهند.
قانون های شورشی مجاهدین یارتان، مشعل پیکارتان. قانون های شورشی مجاهدین یارتان، مشعل پیکارتان.
برای همین هم بود که 3600 نفر از نمایندگان 29 کشور جهان از شما حمایت کردند. اونهایی که آزادی خواهند و خودشون رو از این سیاست بازی های کشورهای استعماری کشیدن کنار و میدونن شماها انسانهای بیگناهی هستید، شما انسانهای فداکاری هستید، شما انسانهایی هستید که میتونید یک کاری رو به درستی پیش ببرید. بعد یکی از اونها تمام طرح 10 ماده خانم رجبی است کی میاد ایران ایراد میگیره به طرح 10 ماده جز فرهنگ، جز آزادی و جز پیشرفت برای مملکت ایران چیزی توش وجود نداره. برای همین هست که تمام این آدم‌های به اصطلاح آزادیخواه و اصطلاح طلب در کشورهایی که روشنفکرن یا سیاستمدارهای آزاد هستن از شما حمایت. درود به تک تکتون. من به تک تکتون افتخار میکنم چون اینجا هستیم در هر جای ایران و دنیا، چون هر کدومتون یک بابک خرمدین، یک یعقوب لیث، به یک صدران خان، به یک حنیف نژاد
Ladies and gentlemen, our next delegation represents dynamic youth, young adults of Iran, a generation of the cusp of shaping their futures and their nation's destiny. They are students and early career professionals, and their voices are vital in our collective pursuit of a free Iran. These young adults are the embodiment of resilience and hope, and they are here to share their perspectives and aspirations. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Hasti, Kiana, Mickey, Saba, and Parsa.
Hello everyone, my name is Saba and I would like to thank you all for joining us here today. As we come to the one-year anniversary of the Iranian People's Uprising, it is clear that the Iranian regime has completely disregarded human rights through the brutal suppression of the nationwide demonstrations that spread throughout Iran. The Iranian regime has been engaging in violent crackdowns on peaceful protests, has arrested and disappeared thousands of people, and has executed hundreds in recent months. The execution spree going on today is a crime against humanity, with many Iranians being convicted of crimes without due process or fair trials. The invitation of Raisi, the so-called president of Iran, to the UNGA today is a mistake and a blatant disregard of his role as a member of the Death Commission. Overseeing the entire process of sending thousands upon thousands of political prisoners to their deaths, including my own uncle, Mohammad Reza Danishvar, a gifted medical student at the University of Tehran in his final year of medical school. A bright, gifted, and humble student who always put others before himself. My uncle desired freedom, he desired equality, he desired democracy for his people, and because of this was arrested in 1983, and then at the age of 32 was executed under the orders of Raisi. As the people of Iran continue to keep the fight going on with their blood, we ask the world leaders to realize they are sitting in the same chamber as Ebrahim Raisi today, a murderous criminal who must be held accountable for the years of violence, of terrorism, torture, and executions, including the violent suppression of protests in 2019 and 2022, leading to hundreds of unjust deaths and countless injuries. He has no place in the United States, and especially no place at the United Nations. Terrorist Raisi out of the UN now, now, now! Terrorist Raisi out of UN now, now, now! Terrorist Raisi out of UN now, now, now! Raisi is a murderer! Down with Raisi! Raisi is a murderer! Down with Raisi! Raisi is a
afternoon. My name is Martha Arya. I come to you as a student activist from Texas. My fellow advocates for justice, freedom, and human rights, as today we stand united not merely as Iranian Americans, but as fervent champions for the sanctity of human dignity. We are here to amplify the silenced voices that scream out from the depths of Iranian prisons and from the hearts of oppressed youth like myself. This is not a whisper. This is a clarion call that we will not stand idly by. The Iranian regime, a dark cloud of repression, wielding brutality like a sword against its own people. Journalists shackled, activists broken, students like us, like me, imprisoned for daring to utter words of dissent. This is tyranny. We insist on recognition of the rights of the Iranian people to overthrow this regime of mullahs. We call on the United Nations to press for the immediate release of all political prisoners. These are not just detainees. They are the vanguards of a peaceful revolution. They are our brothers and sisters, struggling in the realm of ideas, daring to dream of a free, non-nuclear Iranian republic. Look around you. We stand arm in arm, a living tapestry of solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Iran yearning for liberation. We are a defiant chorus, singing an anthem of freedom until the pillars of tyranny crumble and the skies of Iran are free. But we are not alone. We stand shoulder to shoulder with the National Council of Resistance and its president-elect, Maryam Rajavi.
Democracy, freedom, with Maryam Rajavi. Democracy, freedom, with Maryam Rajavi.
Maryam Rajavi and her 10-point plan is more than a political roadmap. It is the promise of a dawn after the longest of nights. It is a manifesto that recognizes the inherent value of every Iranian citizen, whether man or woman, whether of this religion or that, whether from this ethnicity or another. Today we roar, and our roar echoes from the streets of Tehran to the halls of the United Nations. We will never rest until justice prevails and Iran is free.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Kiana, and I join you today as an advocate from Virginia. We are gathered here to talk about a topic of immense importance, not just for Iran, but for the entire world, the power of solidarity to bring about change. Iran is a nation with a rich history, the cradle of civilization, a melting pot of different nationalities, Persians, Azaris, Kurds, Baloch, Arabs, and many others. Yet we are all Iranians and have shown the world over the last 12 months how we can come together in solidarity. When we hear slogans like, "From Kurdistan to Tehran, I give my life for Iran," we see such solidarity in action. This unity comes from a united goal to end injustice and discrimination. Yet the current regime in Tehran has often tried to keep us divided in order to maintain its grip on power. We all know how this regime has historically marginalized many of Iran's nationalities, deprived them of equal social and economic opportunities, and often suppressed native languages and cultures. Today's protests in Iran show how we find strength in this unity. And with the presence of resistance units, an organized opposition, and national solidarity, this regime faces an existential crisis. No longer is this regime able to pit one group against another and use tactics of divide and conquer. The bonds of solidarity have neutralized the mullah's most effective weapon, division. We are proud Iranians fighting together against this inhumane and un-Iranian regime. Global support can be instrumental in inspiring and sustaining change. The united Iranian people are not just fighting their battle alone. The world is standing with them. In closing, the idea is to usher in an era where a new government would respect the dignity, rights, and aspirations of all of its citizens, regardless of their ethnic backgrounds. Let's keep fighting together until we get this future. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mehrana, and I join you from Virginia in support of Iran's revolution that started last year after the murder of Mahsa Amini. Because we honor all of sacrifices and bravery of the Iranian people, let me share with you what we are fighting for. We stand here in support of the 10-point plan presented by Maryam Rajavi for the future of Iran. First and foremost, it calls for the unequivocal abolition of the death penalty. It also advocates for the separation of religion and states, a pillar of modern democracy. This is not an attack on religion, but rather an acknowledgement that faith should empower individuals, not governments. Freedom of religion and non-religion would be recognized, and so ends to the era of religious compulsion. The 10-point plan also shouts loudly for gender equality. And an Iran that recognizes equal participation of women in both sectors and social spheres no longer would have the country's intellect and capability be systematically stifled. Furthermore, it calls for a new legal framework, one rooted in the principles of human rights as articulated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It aims to scrape all forms of discrimination against religion and ethnic minorities, ensuring equality for all. This blueprint envisions an Iran free of nuclear weapons, because peace is its ultimate aim. The funds for nuclear projects and foreign militias will come to a halt as they will be redirected for welfare of the Iranian people on environment, education, healthcare, and development. Importantly, it also focuses on market economy, securing property rights and safeguarding investments. By empowering entrepreneurs and businesses, we can alleviate poverty, create jobs, and bring prosperity to every Iranian in every corner of Iran. And let's not forget that this plan vows to deliver justice for the crimes committed by current regime Raisi, especially the massacre of the political prisoners. No longer will impunity prevail over accountability. Indeed, Maryam Rajavi's 10-point plan is a call to action for all Iranians and for all of humanity, to rise up and to say that the future can be redefined, that destiny can be reshaped, and that freedom can triumph over tyranny. Let's make it our mission to bring this vision to life. Thank you.
I'm going to start because, we've been told our mic might be cut off. So I want to say, first of all, this is an incredible demonstration. I think I've been to it years. Woo! But don't clap long. Don't cut into my time. I only have a minute. So, anyway, it's been incredible. So, we represent, I'm Miss O'Malley. I represent an NGO, International Federation of Business and Professional Women. I'm also past chair of NGO CSW New York, that is composed of thousands of NGOs. Those are non-governmental organizations. We do the work of the UN. You might think the UN does the work of the UN, but it's not always that way, because they have to go back to their countries and ask permission. We don't ask permission. So I want to tell you what we did last year at the Commission on the Status of Women. Iran was behaving terribly, just terribly, and they were one of the 50 countries on the commission. And guess what we do? We kick them out. And it was NGOs that did that. The countries, the commission, no. We had to pressure and say, how can you have Iran on a women's commission given the way they're behaving? That's crazy. So that's what we did. Okay, so look to your NGOs and see how we can work with you. I'm not going to say what I have here, but boy, it has been an inspiration.
Ladies and gentlemen, our gathering today is graced by the presence of a delegation of pastors who have devoted their lives to guiding their communities and spreading messages of hope and unity. Please help me welcome them to the stage.
That remember the brutal beating and death of Masha Amini, a young 22-year-old woman punished because of how she dressed. As women, we need to stand up for one another and unite together to stop these brutal attacks and mistreatment of women. All human beings, men and women, deserve to be treated equally and with respect. The uprisings this past year have united a people that are determined to stand for freedom. They put their lives at risk each time they protest, but they are fighting for a cause that may even lead to their death. Thank you for their courage to take such a sacrifice. I stand with the women who are rising up and taking leadership roles to help continue this fight. That all people, men and women, are created equal, and freedom will be the sounding cry in Iran. I pray and support Madame Rajiv for her dedication and faithfulness to bring a democratic, free government to the country of Iran. I pray the day will come soon when Iran will be a free country, having democracy of freedom, treated equally, and freedom of religion and speech. Honor is given to all the people who have lost their lives to stand for this movement has not been in vain. We stand together with you, the people of Iran, and will continue until freedom reigns.
Well, it's midday in Manhattan, but it's a new day for Iran. It's a new day for the people of Iran. And while those that are within the geographical regions of Iran, they've been shut down from their voices, their expressions, and their freedoms, they recognize the only weapon left to fight with, which was their blood and their very lives. The least we can do is exercise the freedoms we have here to stand with them in solidarity, to use social media, to use every avenue that we have at our access, and to speak freely about the atrocities that are going on by this evil regime. This rally will end shortly, but the fight goes on. Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight and to continue for a free and democratic Iran? God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude our first half of the event, we'd like to inform you that we'll be taking a brief intermission. Just please take this time to recharge, reflect, grab a bite to eat. We're going to use the time in the intermission to join a Twitter storm, and right now, Prosecute Raisi Now is trending. We need to make this thing global. We have to set it on fire. Hashtag Prosecute Raisi Now. Get on Twitter, get on your social media, take videos, take pictures, and post it. And the second session will commence at around 2:30, so we encourage you to return promptly to continue with another set of very important speakers. Thank you very much.